but my essays may be judged by people who know a lot more than I do about what I'm talking about. Fortunately, studying French and other Romance literatures, I got good training in scholarship and in writing critical prose, which gave me some confidence. Unfortunately, I also showed a gift for the snow job, not the kind that buries fake facts under a blizzard of statistics, but the stylistic snow job, expressing incomplete ideas with such graceful confidence that they are perfectly convincing until examined. After all, a fluent style isn't altogether dependent on the thoughts it expresses. It can be used to skate over gaps in knowledge and conceal rickety joints between ideas. When I'm writing nonfiction, I have to be very aware of my tendency to let the words take their own course, leading me softly, happily, away from fact, away from rigorous connection of ideas, toward my native country, fiction and poetry, where truths are expressed and thoughts connected in an entirely different way. As I got old and my total store of energy began to shrink, I began to travel about to give speeches less often and less far, and was less willing to take on a big talk or essay topic that would eat up weeks or months of research, planning, writing, and rewriting. So there are fewer talks and essays in this book than in my earlier nonfiction collections, and proportionately more book reviews. A book review is usually pretty short, under 1,000 words, and naturally limited in topic. It has certain requirements of description, but allows a lot of leeway as to pronouncing judgment, even though it involves the writer's conscience pretty directly. It's an interesting and demanding form, and one can say a good deal in a review that has to do with wider matters, literary and otherwise. I like writing reviews, except when I dislike the book I'm reviewing. When it comes to reading reviews, of course the best is one that sends me right to the bookstore. But I also treasure a hatchet job well written and well deserved. The pleasure of reading a killer review of a bad book is guiltless. The pleasure of writing one, however, is darkened for me by all kinds of compunctions, fellow feeling for the author, shame at enjoying inflicting shame. All the same, so long as I've tried to understand what the author tried to do, and have no illusions of my critical infallibility, condoning inferiority isn't an option open to me. For this reason, the only real killer review in this book presented me with an intense problem. I had considerable respect for the author, but thought the book almost incredibly bad. I had no idea how to review it. I appealed to my friend, the novelist Molly Gloss. What to do? She suggested that I simply tell the plot. It was an excellent solution. Supply enough hemp, and the problem vanishes. As for what writing an essay or talk demands, the expense of time and energy on research, thinking out, rethinking, this of course varies according to the subject. One of the longer pieces in this book, Living in a Work of Art, was not written as most of them were as a talk to a group or on commission by a periodical, though it ended up happily in Paradoxa. It was something I wanted to write, purely on the principle of E.M. Forster's lady who said, "How do I know what I think till I see what I say?" It didn't take very much research, and once it got going, it was a pleasure to write. When I can use prose as I do in writing stories as a direct means or form of thinking, not as a way of saying something I know or believe, not as a vehicle for a message, but as an exploration, a voyage of discovery resulting in something I didn't know before I wrote it, then I feel that I am using it properly. So that one is probably my favorite of these pieces. I am often asked to deliver a message, and quite capable of doing so, but I seldom find it easy or particularly pleasant. One of the shortest pieces in the book is my speech on receiving the National Book Foundation Medal in 2014. I was